Yo guys, we are 5 minutes out from the Ashes of Creation dev update for April 29th. They are going to go over settings, I heard from the chat, so hopefully we're able to see, of course, you know, what settings that they're talking about, but pretty sick. Looks pretty sick. Can't wait. Chat's here with me. And then I'm saving up for the point thing. 12,000. Okay, you're 12,000. Well, that works. 4 minutes. It's almost starting. Nice, Woolsey. So you get to watch. Also, I'm only one of, well, more people are now, but this guy's oh, he's got a cool little overlay for it. Nice. He's got a cool little overlay. I know the Asmon hype. Literal hype. Literal hype. What was for lunch, Woolsey? What was for lunch? Halo Infinite has new maps now. Oh. They have some esports going, so everybody loves to watch esports. 12,000 ebullient. Heck yeah. Stuffed crust pizza next to me with peanut butter. Oh, dude, everybody's bringing up pizza. My roommate brought up pizza today as well. I'm fiending right now myself, man, for some pizza. Some pizza. Some pizza. Doesn't it? Doesn't it, Ebullient? It sounds really bomb. Prague. Order me some, Ebullient. Just kidding. $40. $39. Well. 4, 5, 6. That. Yep. Order me some. I'm starting to get hangry. Well, I had some protein shake this morning. Heck yeah. Here we go. It's about to start. It's about to start. Two, one. Man, they're far behind. The music. I wish they would just announce.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Salutations and welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation April development update. We hope everyone is well and safe. I am Margaret Crone, your community marketing lead, and with me as per usual is our one, the only, the ship driver, aka creative director, Stephen Sharif. You're driving the ship.
I forgot to mute my phone. I'm sorry. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was getting distracted by Twitch chat. Yeah, I'm great. I was actually answering this to folks in Twitch chat earlier. It's been a very busy month, so much that I feel like I blinked and it just passed by.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Not a bad thing. I think that means there's just a lot going on and that, I'm moving and grooving.
I actually didn't get too much sleep last night because our the Magic the Gathering games that we played last night after work, we were up a little late. That was a lot of fun. We had like 15 people from the studio playing Magic Commander after work. It's become a pretty considerable size group.
You guys always play on Thursdays, and it's it's not the best day for me. I was like, I want to play. I even bought a Commander deck because I've never done. I played a lot of MTG, but not Commander.
I like how she did her hair. Her hair is awesome.
Commander. Yeah, you don't get the wacky,
especially with a big group like that.
Oh yeah, we had an Emperor game, we had a Penta, we had a couple two-headed games. It was fun.
Nice. Well, I'm happy for that. The other element of that was like it's been amazing working with this team because everyone's super passionate, and although I've worked on a lot of teams, I haven't worked on a lot of teams where everyone just like comes to work with like this enthusiasm for the day versus like, oh,
can you guys hear it well
today? It's very different atmosphere, and I absolutely adore everyone we work with. And my team personally has grown over the years. I know we're going to talk about it in the studio update, but it's pretty amazing. How are you doing?
Studio update, design and engineering, environment update, character art.
No, I'm doing really good. I don't know. It's a little chilly today, so if I'm shaking, it's because I'm cold. But and I left my jacket at home. But no, I know I'm doing good. Yeah, a lot of work this last month. The town hall. We had an internal town hall. Actually, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember.
No, day before, Wednesday.
Day before yesterday, Wednesday.
Yeah, they're all melding together.
That was like a 3-hour town hall.
Days start to blend together, don't they?
But it was really great, and it's always cool when everybody gets to see everything that everyone's working on, and we are at the end of a particular milestone internally from our production team, getting kind of that look at everything is a lot of fun and very inspiring. So I loved our internal town hall, and then of course it's almost like a second stream, but just for the team.
Like an internal private stream.
Yeah, it's like an internal live stream.
Yeah, it was very cool. And people are in chat going, what about getting some Ashes of Creation clothes to keep us warm? And we're working on it on my end, on the marketing side for sure. We know that a lot of people are asking for it within our community. So there's lots of stuff going on that front. I think Stephen has teased a little bit of like a while ago in regards to it. But as we get closer, we'll be sharing more stuff.
Cappy, welcome in. How you doing?
We've got a whole slew of great things to cover today. So just if this is your first time tuning in with us, down in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see our
Say hi, YouTube.
Show, basically. We have our reminders, our studio update, which we talked a little bit about here, design and engineering update with some eventful segments in there, and an environment update, as well as character art update and Q&A. So we will get right to that, kicking it off with our reminders. First and foremost, we've got our question or our comment spotlight from YouTube. If you are a YouTube subscriber and you leave us a comment on our video, we will be selecting a random person and we'll read your comment. And
nice.
If you have a question in there, we'll answer it. So this one is from Stephen Barley. Thank you for subscribing to us over on YouTube and leaving us a lovely comment. Their comment says, I love what you are doing with the game. with regards to character customization, I would love to see certain customizations that require in-game challenges to achieve.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
there would be some extremely hard to complete quests that allows you
This is a
to
good
obtain
question.
unique eye colors, hairstyles, scars, tattoos, or in especially rare cases, perhaps slightly glowing or animated variations of those.
That's really
And
cool.
I don't
This
know
is
when
this
I
is a good
I
this is a
think
good
stuff.
I think Stefan might be in our studio, like with some bug devices or something. No, sorry, I called him Stefan because he spelled his name wrong.
Stefan, yeah. I'm not
But
sure how you pronounce it.
no, but yeah,
Yugi
that's
says
absolutely
hello.
something that that
Hi
design and the
Yugi.
character creator team has
Hi
been, you know,
Yugi.
discussing. Stuff that we want to do is have unlockable features, as Stephen was discussing there, where, you know, like, oh, you have that scar because you participated in this siege or these many sieges, or you know, you have this tattoo because of a cultural background, or because of a quest that was accomplished, where you're able to get that. That's absolutely a level of progression that makes the character creator relevant, not just at the start of your experience in an MMO, but it gives you a reason to visit those salons and make changes to your character as it grows and has a history, a background that can be communicated through these customization
All the different stuff to get to
options. And that's
customizations
a
would be
really
dope.
cool,
Yeah.
you know, an
Cappy,
element
how
to
you
it
doing today?
that we want to
How
incorporate
you doing? How
100%.
you doing?
Yeah. So what you're asking for, we got you, homie.
Boom.
Boom.
We got you.
All right. Next up, of course, we have our reminder for our monthly cosmetic swap over. The Road to Desolation is scheduled for to swap over on May 11th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Pacific. So if you'd like those, snag them while they're hot, because
I'm gonna probably get the next one. Ebulin, all the money that you did, I really want to do their
month
pack.
We had a little bit of a different feedback. It wasn't a part of our dev updates per se, but
For updates? Which updates?
there.
He was very happy to see me when I got home.
Had
Yeah.
some hairstyle feedback.
Which
that we
updates are you
requested
referring
from
to,
you
Cappy?
all. And in regards to that, I think they'll be popping some in there, but we basically were asking you guys to kind of provide to us some of the hairstyles and hair types that you like. We heard a lot of your feedback in regards to that. We actually compiled all the feedback about all of the character customization, and we went back and talked to the design team about it. Steven was there as well, and it seems like most of the things you guys want, we are going to be implementing. Obviously, when it came to the character creator,
Ebulin, thank you so much for the 50 bits. I have that off while
that we'll have
I have that off when I'm on the reaction scene. Thank you so much for the 50 bits, bro.
Styles. But in the interim, because it was such a hot topic, we created a new thread where we hope you all will share images of hairstyles that you'd like to see, so that we can share those
hairstyle
with our team
ideas
and hopefully incorporate them as much as we possibly can in our development phases.
Yeah, and it's important to note, we've said this many times, you guys are aware of this, like, art is a continuing work in progress, and the character creator, we wanted to show you guys kind of the level of capabilities at an early stage, which means many of those assets, many of the ideas that you guys shared were already planned, and kind of part of the character creator roadmap. So look forward to in the future getting more updates on those features as they get implemented.
For sure.
Thank you so much again,
Ebulin. Compiling that, so make sure that you head on over to our forums, check out the discussion feedback thread requesting hairstyles for the character creator over there, and toss us their feedback. I believe I saw Bagnar and Roshan posting it in chat. Click on it, leave us some images of what you'd like to see. And I think with that wraps up our
Dude, guys, we should post up some hairstyles.
We have our studio update, which
we should post up some hairstyles.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be dope. What if our hairstyle got put in the game?
Is growing, actually. We, since the start of this year, we have hired 23 additional people to the team, which is really cool. because we are getting an incredible amount of talented individuals. But aside from the talent,
that would be dope.
Who are
Epulant.
just MMORPG fans and players, and they have a passion for this genre and for the project, and they were following along. And it's really nice to be in a position from a studio perspective where your project is known and it's desired
I need hella braids.
amongst the industry to participate with it, and you have these natural applications and interests that are coming every day that our HR team and
braids in the shape of bows or crowns. Ooh, that'd be dope.
And Cameron Midori and John helping to onboard and facilitate these applicants. So
at this point, I think I pissed off the recruiters from applying too often.
I love seeing teams growing. I go out to lunch with the teams and meet these new faces, and I love seeing.
Cappy, what we could do is literally
working on.
Oh, dude, I could go into the Ashes of Creation category one day. We could spend like 30 minutes to an hour picking a hairstyle for the feedback request.
Really good. Internally, we are very close to getting our graphics done and our logos and signs and everything put up, and the studio set dressed to the point where we're going to start recording some videos with the team and give you guys some insight. I know we've done those in the past, and we've talked about how we're going to be doing them here in the future again, but I'm excited to get that stuff running again.
A mohawk
would be really cool, I think, for you guys to
sexy
get behind
pixie
the scenes.
cuts.
I know Margaret's super excited about that as well.
This is my whole team has just been chomping at the bits to do more things like that. So if you really enjoyed the Dev Diary series, we want to do more of those things, and also just bite-sized stuff on social, through like Instagram stories, Snapchat, maybe TikTok, things like that. So
TikTok.
And then on top of that, we actually completed our first milestone of the year last week, I believe.
They have 4,000 viewers right now. People are hyped for this.
Can't quite discuss everything that was there because not all of it is ready yet, but a lot of great things internally from a development standpoint.
R88
is going very well and is very exciting, which will be trickling out over. I know I'm teasing this, but it'll be trickling out over the next few months to see that kind of stuff. So all in all, things are going really good on the studio front.
Yeah, it's been very, very exciting.
What are they going to tease?
For me too, because I've gotten to experience what it was like when we're all kind of like in a little garage studio where we could open the garage door.
Good time.
Oh my gosh.
And now it's like this massive building that we're in, and I don't get to see everybody every day. It's so weird.
Right, and you might see some faces and you're like, who's that person? And you're like, that's a weird experience.
I am fortunate in the company that I get to see all of the new hires as they come in, because we're like flagging their accounts and things like that. So I do get to see faces, kind of like little pictures of them, but sometimes they don't match necessarily what they look like.
A mohawk and an R88,
especially people who use like Goku as their image or something. But it has been pretty cool seeing.
Do it, no balls.
It is cool.
I'm excited, and like when we see potlucks and it's just like this massive amount of people in the cafeteria.
Hella balls.
Yeah,
it is always fun to see that for sure. And last potluck, you guys had a little Ren fair dress up. That was cool.
Yeah,
I saw that.
We posted some photos of folks who wanted to be in photos.
Oh my god!
So if you want to check that out, it's on our LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those places. Some people brought their A game with costumes. I just threw on something quick. But let's move on to the design and engineering update then. Let's first preface, everything that we talk about is subject to change potentially through development as we test things. So just keep that in mind as we talk about things here. But first, let's talk about what have they been doing generally on the design and engineering side. Maybe start with engineering and then go to design so we can tie it into today's topic.
Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff.
Yo, Seraph, what up? What up, man?
Over the last
How you doing, buddy? You want to do a dungeon after this?
Really been focusing a lot on. Let's see. We have the node layout tool that's been getting some adjustments that Roy's been working on, and the node team on the design side has been working on, especially with environment. It's kind of like changing the way that the node layouts work. To facilitate some of the additional service buildings that are going to be incorporated in Alpha 2. We want to kind of create a layout
Oh
tool
yeah, no
that
worries, Sarah.
allows
This
even
is going to be
each
happening.
of the nodes to kind of be represented in a unique way. We've talked about that in the past, but more importantly, also that we maintain consistency on certain building locations, especially player housing, and specific building service building types as we progress into stages 4, 5, and 6 of the node's progression. So that's something that's been getting a little bit of a redesign. In addition, you guys probably noticed in Alpha 1 how many of the nodes were relatively flat. There was not a lot of topography when it came to kind of sections or districts of the city that lived at different heights, essentially kind of creating a unique silhouette that's possible with the node layout. So now that we've had kind of our approach for Alpha 2 with the nodes that we've manually been constructing from a layout perspective, that Chris Justo and Bucky and Jason Neal have been kind of participating and fleshing out.
Nodes.
The engineering team has been providing for that node layout tool the type of additional requirements that are requested. Also on the AI systems, engineering's been working closely with Chong and the design team on kind of the requirements that the Alpha 2 creatures need to have from a behavior tree perspective, the ability to kind
Alpha
of
2, I
weigh
can't
certain
wait.
actions
I
and
hope
or
Alpha 2 is soon.
response arcs that exist within that behavior tree. How do we how do we value those scores? How do we make those types of actions live in parallel with one another, right? If I'm trying to cast an ability as a monster, but I'm also trying to move to a particular waypoint as a result of some other occurrence on the player's behalf, I need to be able to calculate that in the AI's.
I wonder what's going to dictate them being ready for Alpha 2. Like what,
right?
where do they need to
So a
be
lot of
at with the
engineering work has
game
been
for Alpha
led
2 to be
by
ready?
Russell
Because
Peltz
Alpha 2 is Alpha 2.
on changing up the AI systems from Alpha 1 to accommodate all of the additional behaviors that we want to see out of the creatures, even the dynamic type of behaviors, right? So there's a significant amount of work that's been done on that front. Combat has been a huge endeavor over the last actually several months, and through a lot of the prototyping that the design team and the engineering team and our VFX team and our animation team have been working on.
The character team.
Yeah,
like all of them together.
For sure, 100%. Character art, not so much in the combat prototyping, because the models are kind of staying consistent there. But for example, with the assassin class, with our dagger weapons, we didn't previously have that in Alpha 1. So those are entirely new animation sets that are required to have those dual wielded kind of daggers. And that's something you guys might be seeing soon in the future. But that prototyping phase over the last several months has really been to kind of flesh out the major revamp that we've been working on for combat, because part of the biggest amount of feedback that we got from Alpha 1 was with regards to combat, and we have a lot of ideas on the things that we wanted to try. And the best way to kind of flesh those ideas out obviously is through prototyping. And in development, prototyping is just kind of combination of rapid iteration, of standing up these ideas without full-fledged kind of code support, doing so in a blueprint setting or at a test level, where you can really kind of throw a lot of different things at the wall, and you can rapidly iterate on how that stuff feels, get feedback from the team, feedback from focus groups, and then you can take the direction that is getting the kind of best bang for the feeling buck, so to speak.
Best bang for
so it's been great to kind of see
buck.
that. But in addition, that phase allows for us to really expand
Ebulant, you order
upon the
pizza without me?
versatility of what our ability system can
I see how
do.
it is, man.
And that's been spearheaded by Keenan and Adam, with regard on the code side, with regards to what design has access to do for all the ability systems, right? And not just the ability systems, but also like your combat weapon montages and your basic attacks. So there's been a lot of work on that.
I really
front.
like
It's
that
not
art right there,
quite
that
ready to
Phoenix.
show.
That's
I know
so cool.
so many people are waiting to see combat updates.
It's the top thing we get asked.
Combat
100%.
updates.
But we have to be very careful when we present what's been worked on.
Yes, I'll join
that
your
it has
pizza
to be at
party.
a particular state that's presentable, right? Obviously, you guys know this. You're our core audience. You're tuning in here and you're watching our live streams. But the moment we release an update with regards to combat, that spreads like wildfire, right?
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
Essentially a marketing beat. This is something that is out of our control. It's content creators pick it up. They're going to show it to very unengaged audiences, and we want to make sure that the presentation is at a point where when it grabs those legs that we don't have control over from a marketing perspective, that it'll stand by itself. It won't need our
That's a good
verbal
point, Steven.
support and
That's a good point.
talking about it. It'll be a visual.
Make sure it's presentable for the audience that is not a content creator and that's not core.
And, has people's support. So
we want to set the right precedent, because if people look at something and it's a prototype and it's in really early phases, they might make comments like, "Oh, this isn't very good combat." And it's like, we know that.
And then they're already turned off about it.
That's why we have to make sure that it's
they're already turned off about the game before it even gets released.
Between a transparent development process, but
Cappy, I don't think they're going to do VR for this.
That majority of your player audience will not grasp or will not take into context what a work in progress looks like. So certain things we have to polish to the point where they're presentable, where they can be understood again in its own context without my verbal support or Margaret's verbal support, right?
I think a great example of that is the character creator. Right? We went through many phases prior to that of the character creator, and we would not have wanted to share those with you all, not because we don't want to share the development process, but because there will be people.
Did you see what I put? As I'm like, as long as it's better than ESO combat.
Why would I want to play that? Right?
Yeah, the character creator is a
better than ESO
combat.
What
good looks like when it comes to a feature that can stand on its own, right? That's something that can be shared and people understand that. So, anyways,
it'd be amazing if they had VR content.
On the
too
combat too much.
Yeah.
But essentially. The combat, the ability systems, the tool support there has progressed a significant amount. And by the way, as prototyping lends to those additional features within the combat tools,
Abilene, I don't. I love
an exponential
white macadamia nut cookies.
Right?
Those are good.
When those additional things come online, we can actually more rapidly prototype and more rapidly iterate as well, which feeds back into kind of the process of getting good combat, right? Of getting something that feels good. So there's been a lot of work on that front. Buoyancy and vehicle physics. There's been a lot of work done from Michael Brady and from Mikhail on mount controls, on flight and gliding mechanics that'll be present in Alpha 2, the buoyancy of ships, the physics behind vehicle movement for siege weapons. We had some representation of that, of course, in Alpha 1. But since Alpha 1, it was added to the schedule for us to go back to refine those things. Their work's in progress.
It's like
we
good
additional
soup.
Passes that are done on them. Additional support that's presented for those things.
I know that.
I'm happy to say that they are looking quite good, and you may see some updates on those in the near future. Networking has been a big, of course, endeavor on the engineering side. There's been a lot of work on that front by Zach and by Hunter and by Ben, and that actually is pretty exciting. But of course, I can't talk too much about that stuff. The platform, the web teams, our backend services, Mark and his team have been doing an incredible job from an engineering perspective on supporting pretty much everything that the gameplay engineers are needing from them. So it's exciting to see.
Team. I appreciate them greatly. I work with that team a lot. So
yeah, absolutely. Itemization and crafting. There's there's actually a lot of changes that we have not yet discussed on the crafting front. So you guys have had a pretty rudimentary insight into what crafting is in Ashes of Creation. And in Alpha 1, we just had the basic core loops, right? Which is like, I collect a thing, I combine a thing, and I get it. Yeah,
I get
exactly.
a thing.
Collect, combine, get. And that is
so you can watch
a
this
pretty
dev update
simplistic approach that we wanted to just have present from, again, a gameplay loop that was in Alpha 1. But Alpha 2 is meant to really represent a few of these professions in their true form from gathering, processing, and a crafting's perspective. Now, there's some additional gameplay layers that are intended to be tested as part of Alpha 2 as it relates to actually crafting, crafting something or processing something. There additionally is a concept called
Seraph. I'm probably going to do a little bit of a recap after this and talk with Cappy about it.
Makes things a little
she's
bit
listening
different
in.
than what players
and
have,
then I'll do maybe a dungeon in
been accustomed to
FF14
in most
and then I'll end
in the past. And just to give you a little bit of idea behind kind of those gameplay layers that we're thinking about, we've talked about ideas like land management, and as you draw resources from your surrounding area, what type of effect does that have on the land? And then also, how effectively can you draw those resources without having such a deleterious effect on the land, right? Which might impact future resource gathering for some period of time. And it makes relevant the movement of these players who are collecting these goods from the environment, that they actually cannot always just do so in one particular area as the land management begins to degrade. So it actually encourages movement across the world to discover new areas that might not be as perturbed as the ones you're coming from. It's a very interesting idea. It's something that we're going to be prototyping in Alpha 2 and getting feedback on and testing. Corey and Mike Hahn have been leading endeavors on the design side for those types of ideas, which are really fun, and we're going to talk about at some point in the future as well. Outside of that, we've also had a considerable amount of work that has been coming out of the design side from Chris Justo's Node Pod with Bucky and Jason and a few of our other designers on service buildings and the node superpowers and relics and the reliquary system that's going to be present in Alpha 2, the types of benefits that are conferred there, the gameplay between capturing those relics and stealing them or sabotaging their return to the nodes. What type of passive benefits do they grant the citizens?
That reminds me of like
active benefits
monks
are being conferred upon
Age of Empires
states,
too.
The
taking the
relics
paths
that are going to be present within the service buildings, working with environment to kind of mask out sections of a building until the upgrade comes online and a new room opens up or a new wing or a new story. It's really interesting to kind of see the specialization paths that are possible on an individual node basis that makes that particular node a waypoint for certain types of players, right? And how it drives traffic from the player base to those nodes that increases things like the taxable revenue that's possible. And then that, of course, bleeds into the types of additional buildings or defensive mechanics.
I really like that they're taking the time to figure all this out,
incorporating things like
so that it has a longer lifespan than New World did, for example,
that grants certain types of actions that the node government can take, whether it be diplomatic actions like potentially conflicts with other nodes and the wars that happen. What type of rep you need to have with those other nodes from a diplomatic perspective can be influenced by these policies. There's a lot of stuff that's been worked on from the node team that's being supported by our engineering team with regards to this feature development in preparation for Alpha 2. So as an engineering design kind of overview, I'm sorry if I'm super long.
No, it's great.
There's just so much stuff.
The chat's like,
there's
my brain is melting because it's just so much stuff. And Stephen will not be able to go through everything. There's even more stuff. We'd be here all day.
There's a lot. Sometimes I feel like my mind is on the precipice of just breaking in half when there's just what there is to cover on a daily basis from my schedule. But there is so much to be excited about that this team is working on, and not only that they're working on, but that they are creating in such a way that is unlike any experience that I've had
Leak
as
some.
a gamer,
It will make some
and as
space.
an MMO player. And I'm just so incredibly excited. I guess I'm fresh off the heels of our
Woolsey, you have a good one. Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Our town hall. So if I seemed overly excited, it's because, you know, watching.
It's because he's an
presentation
MMO
at the end of
player.
our first, 2022 milestone, has made me excited. So I apologize. I apologize to you and to those out there who do not have this game in their hands yet. If I am hyping this, I don't want to be like, I'm not hyping this. I'm just very excited myself, and I want to.
What the heck? It's buffering. What?
You guys, but I also want to temper that there's still
We're in development. We have a lot of work.
In development, there's a lot of work, and last stream, we showed a very big system, the character creator, and we showed. Oh, are we dying? Are we losing?
Oh yeah, the internet just crashed.
We back. We good.
Wait.
Oh, it's back.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Back.
We see you.
How are we doing?
We see you. Back.
Stand by.
We're still up, so.
Chat.
All right.
We'll wait for it to. Sorry about that.
We good. That was awesome.
Yes.
I was like, the whole, Ev. Yeah. Okay, I thought that was me. I was like, what?
I just wanted to say, another thing is that last month we showed off the character creator, right? And that's obviously
the chat just blew up immediately.
Very exciting thing for everyone to see. It gives you
immediately the chat
for what
blew
we're
up.
hoping to achieve with all of our systems in the game in general, and you guys get to see that stuff. And but that we are actively in development, and we need to be conscientious of how we present the systems.
The internet is always in development.
And what that means is sometimes we're not going to have streams that are as exciting, as visually appealing as a character creator. So I just want to make sure we temper expectations that we're going to show you guys stuff. We're going to show you stuff strategically. That's smart.
It's Blizzard. It's Blizzard.
Can be shown by
the British are coming. The British are coming.
But just be patient.
I gotta get that email. Feels amazing,
I
man.
You guys have been patient. We appreciate that. We love the patience that our community has. But understand that patience will yield a very good product. All
right. Well, let's transition into talking a little bit about our event system and how that works, if you don't mind transitioning to that.
Yeah.
We have a little video that we'll play.
I like event systems.
Just some B-roll
video.
Whilst we talk about this.
Somebody said that Margaret, someone said that you cut the stream to stop me from leaking.
I didn't. I think it was Twitch because I didn't touch anything. We actually didn't stop the stream. It was like Twitch hiccuped, and then we're back now. So
yeah, sure.
Sure.
I actually have mute power. I can just mute Steven.
I know.
I own the power.
No bully.
I know I wouldn't ever.
So
as a joke, maybe, but
this looks so good, dude. I can't wait.
Stream was a little bit more systems driven.
I can't wait.
Chatting kind of about how content gets introduced into the world.
This is so cool.
And things like
Goblin Slayer
goblins that you see. By the way, I love these little goblins.
Yeah, they're cool. I like the shaman.
The shaman's cool, but what I love about the goblins is they're really a unique monster race from the sense that they have social organization to themselves, right? And a lot of monsters kind of share that.
This is cool,
aspect.
Man. I'm so ready for Ashes.
That they have these kind of social organizations where you
look at those light rays too, and it's on Unreal Engine 5.
And you can have some goblin identities, and you can have variants in those types of the types of goblins that you can even experience. But anyways, so when we're talking about events. We've talked about this in the past a little bit. Some of you guys know the event system, but really what the events represent is a way for us to attempt and introduce content in a more fluid, in a more natural, in a more kind of progression-based way that the world is reacting to player activity.
Ebullient, you wouldn't mind if I put $250 to this, would you? So I could do alpha.
In the event system, we have certain predicates, and these predicates act as requirements that must be satisfied before a particular story arc or a particular event can kick off, right? And these events are very, very wide-ranging in what they can be, right? This could be a plague that's sweeping the lands. It could be a natural disaster that is a forest fire or a volcanic eruption.
Wow.
It could be a response from
this
a
world is very
NPC faction or monster
immersive.
faction. Like here, you see the goblins kind of assaulting a town. But what's interesting about these events, and something that I think correlates to kind of how I run D&D campaigns as well, is that there's always a clock ticking in the world, right? There's always something that's happening.
That's great.
In the background, regardless of what player decisions are made.
Clip it.
Right?
That's
These
so
things
funny.
can continue to develop. And if you don't pay attention to them, or if you don't respond to them, if you do not stop them from advancing in stages, right? These things will have effects on your day-to-day activities. They will create obstacles. They will potentially destroy buildings. They will create havoc within the game player world that will force you to respond. And if you do not, you will suffer the consequences. So let's see. Did you give me? Let me see here if I have these
talking points for you here.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Steven's using the run of show, you guys. It's exciting.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I'm just messing.
I'm like, where is my run of show? Okay, I think I have it here. Okay, perfect. So one of the things that we kind of consider behind the event applications are like where these events live. So obviously one of the most common probably events that you guys have experienced in other MMORPGs are calendar events. Calendar events can be server-wide events that give us unique content based on the duration of either some type of real world holiday or in-game holiday or beat. Now that's not to say that these are going to be campy or that they're going to be out of immersion, so to speak. We have a lot of ideas on how certain real world holidays can be contextualized within the game world and seem fitting, right?
We actually asked you all for your feedback in regards to events and holidays and if you'd like to see those. And looking at the feedback from that, it seems like you guys want a mix. You want a mix of in-game holidays and seasonal events and things like that that are pertinent to the culture of the world and different from real life. And then you also want some that coincide with real life but have their own culture and purpose in the game. And I think we can definitely incorporate all of that feedback for sure.
This is going to be
part
dope.
of the great thing that the content team, the narrative team, that's Scott and Chris and Amy and Wynn and Tony, part of the things that they're working on is creating a lot of cultural identity for these character races, and how we can bring about kind of these calendar events from the perspective of each individual race. That's something that I think is going to be really helping identify or giving identity to each of the character races. The other thing I want to say is that Amy and Clayton have been working very hard on this event system. So I want to give them super kudos, big props to Amy Watanabe and Clayton Stamper.
Also
next
Scott
thing,
and I believe Chris.
Scott Bacara, Chris Holtorf, absolutely, and recently Tony as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So note
I'm
attacks.
like, you gotta list all the names.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So the next thing, and this is kind of indicative of the little video that you see here, the little loop that we're playing, is node attacks. Some of the events that spawn have consequences that lead to node attacks, right? And enemies have
this is a
particular
node
type of
attack.
hate list on certain buildings that a node may have access to when they attack during an event. And that hate list might relate to or that building choice might relate to something that is indicative of the storyline for that particular event, or it could be something that is more pivotal to the defense of the city if the city doesn't respond to these types of things that might weaken them for potential player attacks afterwards, right? And that's something that's very important as well. Monster coin events, we've talked about this in the past. Monster coins are obviously items that allow players to become monsters for some period of time. Events allow players to kind of opt in from the monster's perspective and take out their rage on other players or different factions, but without having to be their own player character at that time. I think that breaks up the monotony of what playing your character class might always represent on a day-to-day basis, and give you a little bit of fun. Little bit of a fun part-time away from that. The other thing is our kind of POI events. So POI events typically tell stories of the particular POI, right? Like, why does this POI exist? Why are there monsters here? This point of interest that might be some tower, or might be some dungeon. How does that population interact with the rest of the world outside of just its point of interest, right? And those things could be precursors for node attacks themselves. It could address the story of nearby threats as antagonists to civilization in general. Enemies can only really grow stronger as the node grows, becoming outposts essentially for exile.
We only become stronger.
The other thing about node conflict NPCs is that they might have influential inhabitants of the world, right? You might have, a dude who's
I think
the leader
this MMO
of the speakeasies, and
I don't know if this system is implemented in any other MMO.
Interact with them, they might give you that information to your enemies, and that might spawn off some other event. So these are also closely integrated with storylines and story arcs in general. The other thing, you could have certain type of PvP objectives and PvP driven events. The event system is used to create PvP situations in the open world as almost battlegrounds, right? Open world battlegrounds. And I've talked about this in the past as well. But usually my definition of what a battleground is non-traditional. It's not typically something that is defined in the same way in other MMORPGs, but I kind of view them as these small skirmishes that might lead up to a siege or to a war, and they might have capture points during node and castle fights, and these PvP objectives may be more relevant for smaller groups than for giant raids, and you might have concurrently running objectives during a particular event where you have to dispatch groups simultaneously to go address these objectives in order to complete one particular type of event or one particular type of success condition. So that is
so you can't just zerg the whole thing. You have to do it strategically.
Well. One important thing to note about events in general is notifications are sent to the players, right? Players can kind of opt into these events in a similar way that you would into a quest, right? You're going to be presented with would you like to participate? But they might not always be that way. You might hear trees falling in the forest, and that may be an audio cue to tell you something's happening over there. It's out of the ordinary. This is not normally an audio cue that I hear in this area, and I'm going to go investigate that thing. So it might not just be always that kind of UI window represented with a participate or not, but I'm going to go investigate. And in that sense, it could be stage driven. So you might have the more local stage where it is just the visual or audio cues, and you get to go participate in that stage. And then when it advances, or if you don't answer the problem in time, then it starts to expand regionally, and then it might send
like a plague.
Particular.
So if you don't answer the call, things are going to happen over time.
Of the node from which it falls under its purview.
It's very
or even broader than that, right? It could be global driven events, and then it could have things that are visual cues that are really big, like a giant blizzard that's affecting the zone because the event hasn't been addressed, and that can affect the crop rotations, or it can affect passages and roads and how caravans move. There's a lot that the predicate system
that's really immersive with the blizzard system, and
stuff, and then the event system reacts to those types of predicates, right? There's also event levels. The level of a particular event content is scaled essentially with the level of the content that triggers it. So for example, if the event takes place in a zone that has a base population of, let's say, average level 25, then one of the trigger conditions might be that 10 monsters of level 25 have been killed recently in that zone, and the level 25 event will now spawn additional content designed for level 25 players. So these events aren't always going to be end game. They're going to be obviously appropriate based on the content in which the predicate system is informing, but they also could be something completely top level that is introduced at a lower level area and brings population traffic of the players.
That's huge. Back to those FF14 does that amazing.
There's one other important thing is that events are driven by what we call a state machine, right? And there are essentially 5 types of states that exist for events. There's the in progress state, there's the active state, inactive, on cooldown, or disabled. And that is essentially a way that we inform.
I heard someone talking shit.
We inform what types of elements, what stage of activity.
He's saying you're the goblin running through the grass right here, Cappy.
Is currently active at the moment.
State of confusion.
We talked a little bit about kind of triggers. We have world conditions like node levels. We have seasons and climates and calendar, the service building activation, relics, and completed raids. All of these things can be part of what informs. I'm not going to go into what everything can be. I don't want to dish out, the nitty gritties of the system per se, but I'm just giving you an idea of what essentially allows events to become a thing.
Gosh, Cappy, that's pretty messed up.
Once those things are addressed or not addressed, certain cooldowns get triggered. Other conditions might trigger. It could form as a predicate for an additional event. There could be concurrent events. Are we alive? I feel like we're dropping again.
Yeah, it looks like Twitch is hiccuping again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Blame Twitch. Blame Twitch.
We're under attack.
And now it's green again.
And
but
we're back.
There's an ad playing, so give it 4 seconds.
Not like these.
Yay!
Ads on Twitch. Ads on Twitch.
F's in chat. F's in chat for connection.
Fortunately, it's not my internet; it's Twitch's side, so it's not cutting. It's not like making the video cut.
Yes, that's true. This is true.
There's a lot of people watching. You can tell there's a lot of people watching on phones because
the general kind of new information that you may or may not have had.
See, something I got. That's true.
Events. I'm not sure if I missed anything.
I think it's going red again.
No.
Just keep talking.
It says the video skips, but the audio is fine.
Audio is fine.
Well. We always can't have remember when we used to have so many audio issues, and you may not remember that.
I wasn't here. It was before my time.
But now it is your time. No, I'm just kidding.
But this is not me. It's
I know, I'm just messing with you.
But now it is your time.
The time of
end her.
I'm just kidding.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, did I miss anything in the
Oh, F. That was a big
explanation. Or
that was a big F
for me about events at all, Margaret.
I think the only thing I would want to mention is that this isn't all of them.
No. Yeah. We want to obviously this type of system. Are we still alive?
It says we are.
No.
It's definitely.
Maybe it's the goblin video. Let's kill the goblin.
Should we kill the goblin video?
Okay. I don't know.
I don't think it should be because it's my CPU is like 2%. Maybe Twitch can't handle the goblins. The goblins are too powerful for Twitch.
Goblins are strong.
Goblin Slayer.
Goblins are strong.
I'm looking at me.
Yeah. So to Margaret's point, this obviously isn't everything about the system. We don't.
Wait, you're gonna go to school here, Cappy?
But we do want to give you context for how the system interacts with the players, and we do want to give you kind of an idea of how these things advance and progress and
goblin these
initiated, and just to give you a general idea of all of what events can entail, so that the type of living, breathing, typical cliche terminology that's used for these types of
Willow
systems.
Point. I need to know what city that is in, Cappy.
That is that feels immersive, that feels organic, that feels reactive to kind of player agency in the world. And the event system is one of those components. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of basically that risk versus reward versus consequence that we have talked about many times when it comes to Ashes of Creation. We want you, if you ignore those goblins, they're going to be plotting something. So you will have to, deal with what the repercussions of those
They
are.
be
But
plotting.
if you're, take care of it early on, maybe you're rewarded for that. So kind of keeping those things in mind. Also, I believe there will be a feedback thread about events.
Oh yeah, that's in Aurora. That's not a bad area.
Now-ish. I know you're making it live. Yep. So if you could pop that live now, you're welcome to go over to our forums, leave us feedback in regards to your thoughts. We'll also have an article that will be going out, I believe, next week. And that will also kind of give you a rundown of this again if you're, if reading is a little bit easier for you than listening to us talk. But we'll also embed the video segment so you can, listen back and read at the same time.
So you're actually going to live here, Cappy?
I did have one question that was asked. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like it was the Goblin video. Like maybe we should have made them gremlins because I'm just kidding.
I don't think it is. I think Twitch is having server issues right now.
No.
Yeah, I looked at their thing. I think they were having server issues.
Got it.
In regards to this question that I saw in chat, I think it might be something that you could answer. And
sure,
it's from Levioima. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They wanted to know, you don't have to answer this today, but I would appreciate an answer on stream over the next couple of days. If you are going to link some holidays to out-of-game events, how will you resolve the time difference? Since it was said that in-game time will be faster than real-world time, like 4 times faster, I believe. And that's kind of a valid question to ask.
Oh, I see. So will seasonal events in the real world align with the seasonal rotation in the game world? I think in that sense, probably not. That's going to require a little bit of suspension of disbelief in understanding that. But it's also fair that in-game events do not need to be perfectly cyclical, like let's say seasonal events are in the real world.
Yeah, Cappy, that's Aurora.
Have a non-uniform cycle associated with them. But yeah, we also, there is something to be said for having that represented in the game, as long as it's immersive, as long as it's contextualized within the story and the world and the universe that we created, and isn't a direct homage to Santa Claus in the real world, right? Like, just to use a prime example or something. But it can be a fun thing for players to experience, and it doesn't always have to.
I think we're red again.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Twitch is not happy.
Oh no.
I am recording locally right now, so for this end bit, just in case it like hardcore hiccups.
Twitch, is it
recording
Twitch?
local for the YouTube?
I don't know.
Okay, but either way, hopefully that answered your question.
I think that was a good answer.
Yep.
Got some ads playing for folks.
Ads on Twitch
as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Just keep it going.
Next?
Our next thing is environment art. If we're ready to rock and roll, so let's go ahead and hop over there. So the first thing is, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what environment has been working on, but
it's God area,
Ebullient. A lot of biome-oriented things in regards to Alpha 2.
Well, and so this is so we're doing concept. So this is some concept that Joe has done with regards to fleshing out some of the architectures of the Pyre culture. So these are different types of home concepts for the Pyre
homes,
and you can see.
This looks so cool! I cannot wait. Cappy, are you gonna play this? You guys gonna play this with me?
Environment that
these
homes exist in.
I need to technically, if I want somebody to play with me, I'm gonna have to do $250 for them too.
Root structures that are incorporated.
Ebullient, buy Cappy a key so we can play.
Similar foliage actors that exist within the world as a means to integrate these types of structures with their surrounding environment. I really love how Joe kind of captures not just the element of the building here and the design of that particular building for the modelers to kind of utilize, but also to give context for how these buildings live within the environment by
Big F. Big F. Big F.
Incorporating the ancillary natural features. So,
and this is
very
definitely
cool.
work in progress. They're just kind of trying to solidify,
No,
how do
saved.
these different layers live? How do they interact with the environment,
This-
as
this,
Steven said. So take note that these are not final. These are just
Dude,
concepts
Ebulin,
to
I
kind
just
of
want to
give us
borrow your
an
PS5 though because I
understanding of
want
where
to
we're
play
headed with
Ratchet and
them.
Clank.
The next
Yeah.
thing
I would
that
even
we're
try
gonna
to
show
do a
you
24-hour
is
stream just to finish it all in
Ayla
one day.
Ruins, which this is obviously in-game
Oh my God.
screenshots. These are modular
Looks
sets that
so cool.
in the beginning of the new portal area ruins for the Ayla Elder race to be used throughout the Riverlands. So we've shown off the Riverlands stuff in the past already.
Oh, I see.
And now
I
you're
see it
getting to
now.
see a little bit further of those.
I'm watching on stream as well.
Yeah, it's lagging. I'm recording locally, so we can.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
use
no
the
worries.
local video. Yeah.
So these, obviously you guys are aware you're coming back to Vera. Vera once had very large parent race civilizations, and much of the landscape incorporates kind of ruined buildings.
Yeah, that's all I want to do is just borrow it just so I can
that you're going to come across
finish off
and the world kind of communicate that
or just
age
play
and that
Ratchet and Clank,
distant past,
and then I'll
feeling.
give it back to you.
But
Of course.
part of that is determining the
This is
parent
so cool.
race's original architecture and what their cities did look like, because there are going to be
Looks really
cutscenes
good.
in the game that kind of take you back in time to visualize the fall and the apocalypse and stuff along those lines as incorporating certain story elements. So in that sense, we create kind of the pristine version of the Aelan architecture, and then we destroy it down into these ruined points of interest and or ruined set dresses for the environments.
And then next,
wow, Parco just said, "Can't wait to burn down Elven orphanage."
Some of the new tech that they're going to be showing off in the future.
Oh my God, that's so freaking messed up.
How much you want to talk about that? But I know they wanted to tease these a little bit.
I actually I went out to lunch with the environment team yesterday, and we were talking about showcasing this in the next stream, and they pretty confident on that.
They were like,
so
"Don't give a timeline."
If they're confident, if they're confident, I'm confident. So
burn them to the ground. Orphanage.
I have seen the preliminary.
This is in game, bro. This is in game.
Freaking cool.
These
are just
New World has great graphics in general too.
Wait until
Seasons.
you see the video about this tech and how seasons are introduced within the world. It is something that I think is going to be a very staple and unique aspect of the Ashes of Creation.
Yes, seasons. This is so cool.
Its world is going to be seen.
I'm not going to have a life at when this game releases.
Introduced visually for each biome and each environment.
Well, alpha.
When the cycles of seasons are introduced, and you're going to see that tech, which has taken a lot of effort from our technical art teams and from the environment teams in accomplishing.
My body is telling me yes.
Feels just so good, and of course it has deeper implications, right? As it applies to certain
this looks
systems
good.
Like
looks better than real life.
And, being able to kind of grow things, but also how does
cutting
that
the head from the
economy?
snake.
Like if a particular region moves into a season and that
this
week you
so
can't grow a
sick.
particular type of good, but another region halfway across the world can grow that good, and you talk about moving those goods across regions so that they're relevant to either craft workbenches or you can sell them in the local economies. That is a major indicator of movement of goods, and movement of goods carries risks, and risks can create political foes and friends. So all
MMO...
that stuff is something as simple as just a climate can have cascading consequences across the entirety of the game. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
All right, moving on to our character goodness. I'm looking at oops, that was supposed to be last. You saw nothing. First one here is our Sleep Seers Rement.
Leaked.
As you've seen before, and I'll play the 3D element of this.
Oh, that's so
3D
cool.
model of it. Our artists are so amazing. You see concept art and pretty much everything looks just like the concept. So pretty sick. Awesome headdress. You can kind of see how
Yeah,
the
it
light
looks
reflects on
great.
everything.
Who did this one? Was it Danny? Eli?
I didn't. I forgot to put the names on
Uh-oh.
these ones, so I don't want to give credit to someone with the wrong names.
That's true.
And then
That's
the
cool.
next one here is
Oh my
our Steed of
God.
the Frayed Corpse.
I'm in love.
Work in progress.
Oh, that'd be coal if it changes
make it your
seasons like
bingo
that.
card.
Oh, the horse looks so
Maybe.
good.
Llama!
And then the next one is the lovely amethyst bow bite.
Llama!
Oh, it's like a little alpaca.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was basically like alpaca
like a
plus
llama alpaca?
a turtle together. That's how I designed it when I was designing
It's
that.
it's an alpama.
Alpaca.
Or
llama
or a
alpaca.
talpama.
Talpam.
Turtle alpaca
Phoenix!
llama.
And then next we have our rock hawk, which is looking so sick.
Rock hawk.
Rock
I
hawk.
like that.
And
Rock hawk.
don't say it too fast.
Rock hawk. Rock hawk.
Come on, we all
A
know
rock
where that
hawk.
comes.
Oh my God. A rock hawk.
Next up, we have our work in progress, a scarab, but we haven't really had. I know there's been people asking for
Love that.
for bugs, so here you go.
Rock hawk.
Oh,
He's
little
looking
beetle dude.
cute. Yeah,
How big is that?
I would assume it's probably a big beetle.
Big as the rock hawk.
But I'm sure they could make little ones.
Big
too.
as a rock hawk.
Yeah.
Then we've got the thing you totally didn't see earlier, which is the work in progress of the Scorpion boss.
Is
we do have an
so
image for scale
cool.
right there.
Dude, my body's ready for this game.
Oh
The
yeah.
rock hawk.
This guy is scary.
So sick.
I think either Jinsey or Keith is working on this one.
Wow. That's cool.
I don't want to say who it is if I have it wrong. But yeah, they
You
are
know,
working-
he just looks like he's misunderstood.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally not gonna
Totally.
attack you and eat your face.
Totally.
No, he seems like a cuddle bug. You know what I mean? No pun intended.
So cuddly
Hug
with
me.
all those spikes.
Yeah, imagine those
He's
spikes. Well,
thick.
they're not meant to poke
Hug
you.
me.
They're meant to embrace you.
Right.
Oh my God.
Whatever you're into, Steven.
Big spoon.
And of course, that wraps up this segment for our character art.
Big spoon.
We'll move on to our Q&A and try to answer as many questions as we can here. I know we do have a hard cutoff at some point because
So many innuendos.
He is a fairly booked man. The first one here we have here is about role play. And the question is, will
That boss
the
does
custom
look really
text
sick.
chat command /e/emote/me or some variant of it be in the game for roleplay?
The video
And they don't
Kepi is
mean,
back.
like emotes like dancing and stuff like that. That they mean like, can they type in the text that they want to type in?
Yeah. I think that wasn't that present in Alpha 1? I think it was in Alpha 1. Like you could type the / emote you wanted and it would play like a wave, or you could clap, or you could do some like victory stuff.
Yeah, they don't want it to be animated. They're just saying like, can I just type whatever I want, like / ME.
And then what does that do
skills.
in the? What
No,
do
it
they
does
want
nothing.
that to do
it
in the
does
game?
nothing other than put text there. I think is. More so
Oh,
what
then
they're-
yes, you
so
may
they can
chat.
roleplay. Yeah.
You can chat in the chat box for sure.
Yeah, like you can say /chuckles, but it's not like tied to an animation.
Yes, you can do that.
Karthos wants to know Naval Combat. Can I equip my ship with a ram and plow into other ships and maybe raid bosses to inflict damage while not completely wrecking my own ship?
There might be particular
Ebullin,
ship
I'm selling you on it,
components
huh?
and or classes that excel at
Like,
that type of activity.
I got you interested, I should say.
Awesome. The next one is from Goalid, and they would like to know about Vassal Nodes. Village nodes and higher level nodes give out certificates for freeholds to be placed in their ZOI, zone of influence, for those who don't know. If I place my freehold in a vassal node, can I get citizenship in the parent node?
That is a very good question, actually. Right
I know
now,
you guys are doing a lot of Vassal Node design.
Right now, actually,
Ebulin,
we
would
are
you be down to
intending
get into
on
Discord and talk about this after?
the freehold
I want to
system
talk about it at 15
to
minutes after
work
for,
in both scenarios. There will, but that may change. But you would have an option depending on where you procured the certificate from. As long as it is either in the parent or the vassal area, it could be a part of either. You give that declaration when you lay down the freehold. But like I said, that may change because we are actively defining
Ebulin, I get
different approach on some of the vassal systems.
It's going to be a learning process for me too.
Next up, we've got Nia asking about emotes. Will there be interactions with pets and mounts, such as petting, hugging, or playing with them?
Oh yeah, I would love to. I mean, I think actually a long time ago, animation did do some of that. As a matter of fact, in Alpha 1, you might have seen some of the anims on the rider of a horse that they went down and kind of patted the side of the neck, or they would pet kind of those. But those would be separate actions that you could potentially do as just additional emotes, but interfaces with a mount or pet that you have active.
All right. And then we've got questing lore from Dismas, and they want to know, will we be processing through an overarching story and chapters of a narrative, or will it largely be exploration and contained in small regional quest lines dotted throughout the world?
Both.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There will be a healthy dose of both of those. That the approach of the narrative team is that there is, of course, a meta story. That meta story gets informed by regional stories and regional outcomes, and depending on how players progress within their personal stories, that could be either racially based or could be their class based. They could be per node basis. Like all of those things support a grand structure of the meta narrative, but that's how you effectuate.
Will there be intricate achievements that reward pets or mounts? That's my question there.
And then we've got Schmucky asking about leveling. Will each node have a couple or have a complete and unique path for a player to get to max level? So this is like, could I just go to one node and level up to max level?
Could you do that? The way that the nodes influence spawners around its area, if the node were high enough level, it would have relevant experience grants that you could likely just live your life at a particular node. However, that probably would not be the most effective means of leveling. Is it possible? Perhaps, yes. But it would be probably at a reduced pace.
Okay. And then Roni Siponi, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, wants to know about monster coins. If an economic building is disabled in a monster coin event, will it have economic consequences in regions other than the node in which it was destroyed?
Potentially, yes, depending on what the service building was that got disabled. So, for example, if the service building that got disabled was a blacksmith's building that housed a workbench, which was the only workbench in the region capable of crafting a T5 or a tier 5 or high tier quality equipment, then of course that would have ramifications economically.
I wonder how big the world is going to be, though.
Pieces of equipment that are already
curious how big that
world would raise in prices, and because there would be a issue within the supply chain of those items being introduced into the economy, you would potentially have some supply and demand changes economically, and that could span regions, that could be global even. So, yeah.
And then we have a question from Schwan36 wanting to know about naval content. Since you need to be at a port or harbor to summon a ship, and that's only big ships, small ships you could do not at those. If a ship is destroyed whilst out at sea, will the player need to slowly swim back to shore or get a ride, or are they just stranded out there? What's the...
Yeah, I mean, there's a real fast ride that they could take, and typically that would involve them kind of just swimming under the water and letting life take its, take them away. But no.
Stephen. Oh my God.
By the way, do not advise doing that in real life or anything. I'm just saying, like, in the game world, there's a fast way and there's a slow way, but those are really kind of your options at that point.
I missed that joke. I missed it because I was reading
Some
chat.
games have, things that will let you go back to shore or recall back or something of that sort.
Yes. No, we don't have a recall. We don't have that type of, there is consequence for you losing the means of your mobility. And
Yeah,
if
I
you
would say.
lost the means of that mobility, then those consequences are it's going to take you longer to get to where you need to go, or you're going to have to suffer some experience debt.
All right. And then Dabs16 wants to know about sieges. If a person is a citizen of a node when a siege scroll is dropped on the node, can they move their citizenship before the siege occurs? Very interesting question.
For the most part, yes, they could do that.
Do they get a deserter tag or something?
So there are certain policies that the node could have active at the time that might exacerbate the penalties for departing the city as a citizen prior to a siege taking effect, but during the declaration
Basically.
period.
So we drown.
That is a answer that has a variable component to it.
Okay. And then Richie SH wants to know about the Underrealm. Can we expect the Underrealm and Tulnar starting area to be more built up civilization-wise, since those inhabitants have existed on Vera since the apocalypse?
Well, it's important to note actually that the Tulnar's locations within the Underrealm that they took refuge in during the after the Exodus, that portion was protected. Well, actually, I don't want to get into that too much.
Yeah, you don't want to. I know that.
I almost slipped there. I'm glad I did not actually. But,
spoilers.
How can I answer that question? I'm not going to give an answer to that question.
You don't have to necessarily give an answer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, sorry, Richie, you'll have to experience in-game to find out. The next question is about mounts, and this is from Lashing, and they would like to know, will gliding tier 2 mounts have to sacrifice speed, other stats, or an ability slot to keep tier 1 mounts relevant?
No, tier 1 mounts are relevant. And this is something that's going to be explained in our stable systems and how mounts are accounted for later on. We haven't gotten into an article about the stable systems yet or discussed really how they work. But generally, you're going to have active mounts. And those active mounts, I'll tease this a little bit. The active mounts are determined based on you having that active mount as part of a slot within the stable that you're within the area of. And what that means is that mounts are relevant in battle. And if you lose your mount in battle, it is a detriment. There are ways for you to bring that mount back. There are active potions that you can have available to you to do fast resurrections, to reduce that cooldown potentially. And you can also interface with the stable itself if you want to swap that mount out with a different mount. But tier 1 mounts will have certain types of abilities that are unique to
I didn't honestly know that there was different tiers of mounts.
Have certain abilities that are unique to the tier 2s. In some cases, those will be horizontal. In other cases, they'll be vertical power gain. So it just depends on the situation. It's a situational element.
Perfect. And then we have our last question is going to be about endgame from Gizmo. Gizmo as in like MOW, like mowing the lawn. And they want to know, how do you plan to balance professions to keep them equally useful and relevant at
Sarge.
Well, that's
Sarge, thank you so much for the raid. We are watching
it's a
Ashes of Creation, their dev update. Thank you so much for the raid, bro. You're freaking awesome. I have notifications off.
Iteration.
I have notifications off because we're watching this. So thank you so much. This is going up on YouTube. So say hi, YouTube.
When it comes to balancing
how
the
you
system,
doing, buddy?
That's something that we do during testing phases. When it comes to
architecting
the system itself and identifying the areas.
Thank you so much for bringing over your community, bro.
Certain professions excel, where they interact with ancillary systems, their interconnectivity across the artisanship system as a whole.
Let me get you a shout out though.
part there is to identify how that the interconnectivity lives.
How was Apex,
the
dude?
Other
Are you excited for the next season?
The artisanship system.
I played a lot of Apex last night. It was doing good.
And what type of reliance you
we
have
got to do
on
some Apex
particular
sometime
to complete the
Thank you
path
so much
of
for the
crafting
you streamed for 4 hours, dude.
Introduction.
Thank you so
of
much.
New items
I hope you're
into the
doing well,
economy.
buddy. I hope you're doing well.
And I think that one of the things you need to strive to do is not to create arbitrary and one-off bespoke professions that aren't part of that integration, that whole holistic kind of.
What you gonna do with the rest of your day, Sarge?
Corey and Mike are doing a great job in kind of identifying the importance of each profession across the artisanship as a whole, the artisanship systems as a whole. And right now we have 22 professions.
Sarge, have a good nap, man. Thank you so much for the raid.
Masteries,
bringing over your community.
Masteries.
Appreciate it.
Within only 2
you have a good rest of your day.
Start for any one individual character. So there's that doesn't mean that you can't achieve like tier 3 and tier 4 intermediate proficiency within those systems and have some.
Well, you have a good rest of your day. We'll have to get some Apex in sometime.
But when it comes to complete mastery, we're really kind of identifying around 2 or 3 right now. But that's something that gets play tested, something that gets iterated upon, something that we get feedback on. That's an important aspect for sure.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you answering all of those questions, Stephen. I know it's a lot. But of course, we hope that you all enjoyed.
It still shows that they're on.
Oh, they
just
as we said, there will be an ebb and flow of those big ones where we showcase a lot of cool in-game stuff versus the others where we kind of give you little pieces trickling here and there. But we hope that you enjoyed hearing about the event system. We will have an article going out next week or sometime coming up that you can check out, as well as there already is a feedback thread up. If you have any, thoughts on the event system thus far, feel free to drop them over there. And then, of course, we also have our hairstyle feedback thread up. We would love to hear your thoughts on those things, especially for the hairstyles. If you can provide some imagery, that assists our artists quite greatly. And we're really excited. We hope that you have enjoyed seeing our update. And just quick reminders that the Road to Desolation Cosmetic Swap Over will be on May 11th. So if you'd like that, check it out. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Stephen, for your time. We hope that you all stay safe and healthy. And of course, if you didn't get to watch this or you kind of came in later, it will be immediately available over on Twitch if Twitch's VODs want to work with us. Otherwise, we will be putting this up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ashesofcreation. And if you subscribe to us over there and leave us a comment on the video, your comment could be selected randomly to be spotlighted on our next live stream, which we will, if it's a question, we'll answer. If not, we'll maybe discuss it a little bit. Maybe it's about tacos. I don't know what it's going to be.
Ebulin or Cappy, are you guys available?
Hope to see it. And of course, follow us on all the places. We of course do this big update on live streams once a month, but we do a ton of updates on our social media throughout the month. So if you want to see daily content, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, go check us out. Pop on over to our Discord. Vaknar and Roshan are always interacting with people daily over there, as well as over on our forums. We would love to have you join us and be part of our Ashes family. And we will see you all next month for another development update.
Bye, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.
That was cool. That was good. That was really good. I felt like it was very informative and really entertaining about the environments and how it changes and the events. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. See ya. Give me Alpha 2. Bring me Thanos! That was good stuff. Well, that was Ashes of Creation development update for April 29th. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. That was great. Great, good stuff, good stuff. Alpha 2 wasn't even brought up, of course, so Alpha 2 I feel like is going to be next year. So yeah. Well, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.